protect yourself and your relatives.
Координатор платформы «Мышеловка» Евгения Лазарева на сцене.
The directors for the Foundation on the Loaners' Rights at the platform coordination
Всем привет.
to catch the mice. And hi everyone.
Мышеловка.
I represent our platform,
Потому что людям надоели мошенники, они
and
стали с радостью.
people really are fed with fraudsters, and they started to complain a lot and a lot. We have 60,000 notifications on our platform, and you can see the whole history of what happened to our citizens, and many of them actually started in very bad stories. And I would like to tell you on what was popular and what will be trendy in the future.
В общем, как это говорится, пам-пам-пам. Наверное, все начинается, как правило, с телефонного звонка.
It all starts with a phone call.
В борьбе с мошенничеством точно победят.
So I believe when fighting the fraudsters, you will certainly have the winners. It's the Zoomers who do not like talking on the phone. My colleague has just talked about it the entire last year. And this year, the goal of the fraudsters is to get closer to your gosuslugi, public services, to
Близкими.
hack your account. Not necessarily are they going to use it to take a loan, but clearly the fraudster is going to take the account of whoever they reached by phone. Like, for instance, you've received a
Покупаете что-то на
parcel, you've received some goods from the marketplace. Or sometimes the fraudsters even know the composition of the order you have made. So they say, well, we know you've just ordered such and such stuff. The courier is going to be a little later. Please confirm the code that you're going to receive to your cell phone. This year, on my birthday, I was almost given the flowers 8 times, all by the fraudsters. This way they were going to get access to the public services website. And clearly it was nice. I could get the flowers only for naming my code. They change your water counters. They change access to your front door in your house, especially with the senior generation. It works perfectly well when they try to pay your housing bills, your electricity, your gas, your water, any everyday services, whatever housing services that are known well to every individual. I mean, fraud has always been there. But with the new technologies, it's taking some new shape. I mean, in the past, they used to get some fraud bills, but now they call you and ask for the code of your electricity account or whatever. The important thing is that they get access to your public services account. For half a year, they were extremely active last year in telling everyone of the termination or the expiry of a contract, or the need to replace the tariff, and please let us know your code. I mean, during the examination periods in schools and at the universities, parents and children get calls saying your child is not registered for the exam. Please let us know your code. When you are waiting to be listed in some particular list to get access to an examination, you are a potential victim, because never share any codes with anyone calling you. The fraudsters usually come to more complex schemes, starting with that simple call. So if the individual is already well experienced with, you've heard about all the ways to protect yourself from the websites, from the conferences, from the festivals. If they already know they should not take the phone, answer the phone when the fraudsters call, the fraudsters imitate your call. They tell you, well, your public account is undisclosable, your access is undisclosable, please call us yourself. And again, that's fear, that's greed, and They give you the code you have to name, or they give you the banking details where you have to make your payments. At times, it can be different. I mean, to make the legend sound even more truth-like, you may hear, yes, almost, it's like you are overhearing some conversation. Yes, let's work, let's take a credit, a loan in his name. I mean, the person seems to understand that the fraudster is calling him, and he understands that he's now overhearing a conversation that means that the SAM account is going to be hacked, and the savior, the rescuer, calls right away. And clearly, this makes it clear that the telephone is no longer a reliable way for the fraudsters to get any useful information, except for a call to your family, your nears and dears, to the good friends from your address book. Although the telephone number replacement has already perfected itself as well. So you may get a call with the voice of your close relative. I mean, it's not the most popular scheme, but all kinds of voice imitating deepfakes are very much in fashion. So you close the phone, you just shut it. In the past, they used to say never, ever articulate the 3-digit at the backside of your card. In fact, some would use the varnish so that the card would be safe if it hit the fraudster. So never share any codes, never answer the phone, and double-check all the information by yourself. Now, as the financial technologies are very well developed here, we know Russia is a leading country in financial technologies, so we know there are lots of excellent services and applications that distract the fraudsters. There are lots of software options that are not harmful, or that work to protect. I mean, there are lots of antivirus licensed software products. It's better if you check out what you are buying. They have to be licensed. You buy them in the official websites. All the financial technology operators, all the banks offer a service, protect your family. I think it's a great option. And in this forum today, we've seen lots of outstanding organizations that are introducing these services next. It's a great thing when you use the following room. There is a two-factor authentication whereby you can keep your messenger safe. So if you have a personal account, use the ID tokens, the ID keys, and the two-factor authentication in order to protect your own personal account. Unfortunately, the way the trap works is to navigate people in trouble. And indeed, we have a brief scenario of action. For instance, what do you do when your public services account has been hacked? That is not as scary as the data getting uploaded there and the data stolen. First, you turn to the bank. In the first place, you file a request to the police. Even if they didn't find the money right away, in the nick of time, you want to do this because the fraudsters will anyway this way get into the database, and the information on them will be used to protect yourself as well as other people in the future. And naturally, you need to go to the center, multifunctional center for public services, to confirm your identity and to get your account back. I mean, the legend is so convincing that you were misled by it, and you understand that the fraudster has gotten hold of your public services. Now, how do you know it's a fraudster? You get all kinds of letters or microloans platforms activated for you. That is also a sign of that when you reported the code previously, you pretty much compromised your personal account and your login. However, you can save any personal account and login. So the important thing is that you take these 3 important actions. In order to make sure life is safer and better, there is a huge community, the market players, the individuals that submit their data to the mousetrap. We generate all kinds of innovations and initiatives that then make it to the legislation or become a filter for fraud or are implemented in order to protect the citizens. Now, The previous speaker spoke before me, representing the Bank of Russia. The Bank of Russia is doing a lot to counter fraud. There are huge roadmaps that were
процесса противодействия мошенничеству. И вот
created jointly with all the stakeholders of fraud control
в
process. Now, here is another one, a very important digit everyone has been looking forward to for such a long time. You are going to get this digit in your mobile bank of the 1st of October 2025, whereby you will let the bank know of the fraudulent transactions.
для того, чтобы можно было как можно
This way, the bank can track the fraudsters and the money, and also you will sooner get the certificate from the bank so that the police accept your application and start their investigation sooner. Telephone fraud on the whole.
Хочу сказать важные слова. Каждый может стать
The important thing is that anyone can be misled by them, regardless of how financial literate you are, regardless of what your education is. However, at any emotional doubt or insecurity, the fraudsters can
действий сотрудника службы
hit
безопасности.
you. In my experience, the security service officers, in fact, were victims, not because they were unaware, but just because they trusted their colleagues and professors and the lecturers in economics at the universities, the credit organization staff. There are people you can convince. There are people that are harder to convince, that have more critical thinking at the time. Critical thinking is the softest skill that we really need
Данных нужно в себе развивать. Всегда ставить под сомнение,
when we
когда вам предлагают слишком легкие деньги,
have a challenge.
а заканчивается с ответственностью.
When you're promised some very easy money that always inevitably brings in liability, consequences, and responsibility. My colleagues have just talked about the droppers. I'm not going to focus on that, but
Последствия для человека, если вдруг
I just wanted to highlight the impact it's going to have on the individual. If you are proposed this unique way to make money, there is conscious and unconscious participation, involvement
изменения и уже сейчас
in the legislation. Changes are taking places.
много людей, особенно молодых, стали
Many people, especially young people, have become the
начали не с той своей
participants or the accomplices of this
стали соучастниками,
crime. They've already gotten onto the records of the security services. They are liable right away. In fact, you get liable once you're aged 16. The conscious
вы сами не используете, вы как будто
complacency, the
трафик фрода.
conscious involvement is pretty much when you agree to share the information in your messengers, in your blog, in your accounts, on your own behalf, the information that you can become a dropper, you can make the money in this way.
Конечно, это делать не нужно.
And this way you really help the fraudsters. You should not do this because remember, there is criminal liability coming with it. Unfortunately, it is already instilled and the legislation is now developing to classify
С той самой ответственностью. Неумышленно это
this kind of activities as liable criminally. Now,
на
you may be offered a job,
Вот сейчас, когда появилось поручение президента по
and now that the president has issued an instruction
марте этого года
to control fraud, the law enforcement authorities have done a huge amount of work.
скажем так, провели оперативные мероприятия
They have done all kinds of activities to
менять
withdraw SIM boxes. That's the device using which you can replace the number of the SIM card with a special software. So whoever placed these SIM boxes and whoever organized this traffic are
мероприятий.
certainly classified as accomplices.
Людей не знали, что они
Now, in investigation, 30% of people did not know they were participants in the scheme. They thought they were expanding the connection in their region.
много симбоксов.
However, lots of SIM boxes were in fact withdrawn with a huge number of SIM cards, and all of this worked to
Мошенничество.
get the money away from the citizens and to implement telephone-based fraud.
Уголовная ответственность, но тем не менее,
I've already talked of criminal liability. However, the punishment that comes next can be very diverse. I mean, what I wish to all the young people now is that they make sure they explore the world of financial technologies to grow their welfare and not to restrict themselves, because otherwise you get the blocked accounts, you get limited, restricted transactions, your cards get blocked.
к сожалению, уголовное дело. Поэтому
And unfortunately, there is criminal liability. So being a robber does not pay. And I hope the law enforcers and the law makers make it clear to everyone that this is not what makes profit for you. Now, a few things about the useful initiatives. 80,000 individuals become robbers. Over 2 million Russians are involved in all kinds of fraudulent schemes. 60% of robbers are young people aged 14 to 21. So starting your career with some murky cause is certainly a bad track for the future. And many people do not know they are participating in this kind of schemes. Now, what can you do to prevent
которые они не хотят
fraud? 40% of fraudulent actions
воспользоваться такой
get the citizens to take a loan they were not planning to get.
запретом.
So you can use an important function of self-banning, self-prohibition from March this year through the Public Services website. In September, you will be able to get this done in the Multifunctional Service Center. So you can always at all times remove it in no time in person when you want to take a mortgage loan or to buy a car. So in order not to become a victim, please make sure you can have this. You have this option now.
Вы можете это проверить как через ваш сервис государственных услуг.
You can check if your self-prohibition has been properly instilled in your accounts through the Public Services website. And to conclude, I would like to wish
Ненависть.
everyone to feel duly negative about the fraudsters that hack your money. Do not get involved, do not get engaged. And if you see an individual like this, if you know someone has become victim to them, please turn to our Mousetrap project. We have free lawyers that will help you act properly in a difficult situation. Many people know money loves silence, and they are afraid of reporting their failures. They feel bad when they have to recognize that they've become victim. However, lots of people like this, and it's much better if they share this with everyone, so
Как можно больше внимания.
that this way they can attract more attention of other people, sending the data, referring the data to the Mousetrap service. You will make it visible to everyone. You can report this through our application, through the web portal, and the same kind of services are available at our public regulators.
России, где вы можете пожаловаться на мошенника.
You have the Bank of Russia service, for instance, where you can report a fraudster. And reporting a fraudster, I think, is even pleasant at times. Thank you very much.
Что легкие деньги это всегда дорого и всегда.
Please remember that easy money is always expensive. It always comes with liability. And please make sure you enjoy using the financial services, be